Hey guys, for this new Copper Drop series, I'll let you know what I've been recently enjoying and would recommend for you to cop and read, and also series that I don't necessarily dislike, but I dropped them from my physical collection of books because I didn't believe it was worth buying it, so I just continued to read it online for free instead. Starting with a manga that I think you should cop, I've been reading To Your Eternity, a series by the same author of A Silent Voice. The series is about an immortal being created to preserve the world by accumulating data. Over time, the immortal being acquires people and animals as vessels and can transform into them. The main character starts out as an empty vessel who is later able to transform into a boy who wanders the planet as he slowly meets different people who teach him how to become a human. He's essentially an immortal being on a plane of completely normal humans that teach him what it means to be human. This series does a really good job of creating satisfying character arcs for not only the main character but also all the side characters that he meets on his journey. I didn't like most of the side characters when they were first introduced, and I'm pretty sure the author did that on purpose, making the reader learn to love someone with the poor first impression. There is a main villain in the story called the Knockers, who are a group of beings that attack the main character and steal his transformations. The main character meets a lot of unique people with unique abilities that he transforms into to fight these Knockers. The manga goes into themes similar to A Silent Voice, like what does it mean to live, and with death being such a regular occurrence in the manga, you learn what it means like to live your life to the fullest and how other people's life and experiences can affect your own. Like the main character, you'll learn that it's better to lean on other people in life rather than do everything by yourself. If you enjoyed A Silent Voice, the author's newest series, To Your Eternity, is even bigger in scale and with much more world building. This is currently an ongoing series with 13 volumes released in English, and the first 12 volumes are the first big arc of the series, so I would recommend you read that first before continuing. The next series I want to recommend is a light novel called Classroom of the Elite. The series is about a high school boy enrolled in a school that ranks each student and places them in a classroom with more benefits the higher up you are. The boy is placed in Class D, which is the lowest at the school, and they're known as the defects. Students can raise their rankings through the school's point system, although students from Class D going to Class A has never been seen before in the school's history, but they've never had a student like our protagonist, who on the school's entrance exam got an exact 50 out of 100 on every single test in an attempt to look average. He does this because he's secretly hiding his genius so that he doesn't draw attention to himself. This series is really fun to read because there are things that the protagonist does throughout the story that will seem kind of random and out of place, but since he's able to outsmart all of his opponents, the end of the novels will always reveal that he's been doing things carefully and setting up things to go align with his end goal. If you like shows like Code Geass, where the protagonist is a hidden genius who does everything for the sake of their end goal, you would love Classroom of the Elite. Unlike Code Geass, there are no superpowers and everyone is a normal human being, which I personally thought made the story much more interesting since it's in a school setting. The first year arc has completed in Japan, and there are currently 8 volumes released out of 14 volumes in English. Give this a try if you're looking for a new light novel to read. Now onto the 2 series that I personally dropped from my physical collection. For my drop series, these are manga that I previously bought and then sold after finished reading what I had. Now this doesn't mean I didn't like the manga. I actually would rate both of these a 7 out of 10, but instead of spending money on physical copies, I just switched to reading them online for free. So I'm not telling you not to buy these series, I'm just really saying that we don't all have a bunch of money to buy unlimited manga, so maybe it's better to spend your money on different manga that would be more worth it. But still, if you love reading these series, buying and supporting the author is really important as well. I want to start off by talking about Laid Back Camp, a slice of life series about 5 girls experience the joy of camping together in Japan. After watching and loving the anime series, I picked up the first 6 volumes of the manga, and it was nice to see the characters in manga form, but for me, it felt like the anime improved on the series. The anime really brings out the best in this manga, and while reading the manga is nice, the anime was able to bring out more from the simple story by adding a relaxing soundtrack, great artwork, and lively voice acting. You can see the difference here with the mountain shot in the manga versus the mountain shot in the anime. The anime makes the scene feel much more impactful with the music and the colors, and for me, Laid Back Camp was much better experienced through anime rather than manga, which is still good to read if you want to see what happens next in the story. I would recommend watching the anime of this first, and then see if you want to pick up the physical manga, or just read it online for free. Next, I own 8 volumes of Komi Can't Communicate, which is a really wholesome manga about a girl with poor communication skills who tries to make 100 friends with the help of her first friend, who is a boy that she slowly falls in love with. This is a very popular manga, and one of the first that I bought when I started my collection, and again, this is a really simple story and I enjoy reading every volume I had and loved seeing the wholesome romantic moments between the two main characters. But after reading 8 volumes, it didn't really feel like the story was building on itself and the moments were feeling more and more repetitive. I understand that this is a slice of life manga and the story will kind of just drag on for a while, but if I'm paying $10 for a volume where the story will be more or less the same as the last volume, I thought I can just read this online for free instead. It seemed like if I read volume 1 and then I skipped to volume 8, not much changed in terms of character development or the story setting. It wasn't that I didn't like Komi Can't Communicate, it was more like, would I rather buy 20 volumes of this released manga, or would I just rather buy 20 volumes of like a highly story driven manga like Love is War? Still, it is a very wholesome series and reading it online is my preferred way of experiencing a story, and as of the current chapter 287 that I've read online, the plot is progressing much faster and big things may be happening soon, so I'm excited to see what comes next. For this series, I would recommend you maybe buy like the first or 2 of the physical copies, or you can just read it online first to see if you like it. Again, it is kind of repetitive, but that doesn't mean it still isn't a good story. So those are the 2 series that I sold off to buy other manga in my collection, and I do love watching slice of life anime. It's actually my favorite genre, with my favorite series of all time being K-On! And non-Baiori, but it is difficult for me to spend money on manga that isn't exactly story driven. Since I do buy a lot of manga, I try not to overspend too much by selling anything that I don't personally love. Let me know in the comments what series did you recently buy that you're considering selling now to buy something else. Otherwise, that's all for me this month, guys. Next month there's going to be a manga haul, so look out for that coming. Otherwise, bye!